President Biden going to Saudi Arabia and meeting with the Saudi Crown Prince. President Biden
has been criticized by families and survivors of the 9/11 terrorist attack and for working with the man that U.S. intelligence says is responsible for the death of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. And Bob, I mean, this is all happening. It's happening so close to the World Trade Center. I mean, it's happening in the shadow of it.
And some 700 plus of the victims on 9/11 21 years ago were from New Jersey, some of them from the Bedminster area. So the 9/11 families are very hurt about this, very upset. There will be protests outside the grounds. But if we've learned anything, which it shouldn't have taken very long to learn, is that he doesn't care about any principle, including American democracy, or any person. He cares about nothing other than his own perceived self-interest.
President Biden going to Saudi Arabia and meeting with the Saudi Crown Prince.
What can you possibly say? You know, people who want to believe what they want to believe will accept that. People who live in this reality will not. This tour was backed by anything other than this sort of association with the Saudis. And we mentioned Jamal Khashoggi, but there's a whole list of other human rights violations and the connection to 9/11 itself. If it were backed by any other entity, then it would just be a rival tour. And as we've noted before, have issues. And those issues could be addressed if there were an alternative, as long as that alternative was not backed by an objectionable regime. That's the entire crux of the issue.
And again, and we've talked about it here before, Bob, but I want you to make the distinction. You see this as different than President Biden going to Saudi Arabia and meeting with the Saudi Crown Prince.
Well, I don't know that I'm qualified to talk about that. I'll say this, it's just a personal thing. A fist bump is usually an affirmation. You shake hands with opponents. The handshake comes from, war long ago. I'm putting out my hand to indicate I'm not holding a weapon. You fist bump somebody when it's kind of an affirmation. Hey, good job, or good to see you. You're my pal. I thought the fist bump was worse than a handshake, but that's probably a trivial matter. In this case, there's a direct business relationship between each of these.
What does this do to a legacy?
The question is it the right thing to do?
Yeah, it's disappointing to watch. I had no idea so many years later it would be kind of disappointing to see what's happened here. Bob, it's always lovely to have you. Thanks for being with us this morning.
It was lovely. Thank you.
Kind of disappointing to see.